While the idea of a compact premium or luxury car may not sound foreign today, especially in Singapore, there is one particular name that has been around for longer than the rest, the Audi A3, which was introduced all the way back in 1996. As one of the pioneers of the premium compact class, the A3 nameplate has grown over the years too, with the S3 and also A3 sedan joining the family over time. In the meantime, we've also come to know the A3 as a solidly built, high-quality and high-tech little machine, marking the entry point to Audi ownership today.
Audi thinks there is still room to make the A3 a bit more high quality and also a bit more techified than before, however, which is why they've invited us to very rainy Munich to try this, the facelifted Audi A3, and another very special car. Let's start first with how the new A3 looks. In typical Audi fashion, this facelift is more of an evolution than a revolution of what you expect from the car. The car now gets a flatter and wider frameless single-frame grille to emphasize its width. New bumpers and also new head and tail light signatures have also been added for a more modern look. But I think inarguably the technological highlight of the facelifted A3 is the fact that we get these redesigned headlights with their very own cool touch. These contain 24 different LED signatures, and with them in place now, the car gives you up to 4 different patterns for your daytime running lights to choose from. It used to be that you had to change up your car's paintwork to give the car a new look. But now, depending on your mood of the day, you can just go into the MMI infotainment system, click a few buttons, and the front of your car looks a bit different. Nice! Space in the back, as with before, is perfectly decent, if not outstanding. This has been put in my driving position. I am 1.74 meters tall, and this is the amount of legroom I'm getting, amount of headroom I'm getting. Of course, if you do want more headroom in the rear, you can get the Sportback variant, the hatchback, although that means you get a slightly smaller boot behind. But the rear is honestly not where the highlights are. Let's hop into the front. Because up front is really where Audi has made the most noticeable changes in the interior of the A3. For starters, we get a redesigned center console area with a new flatter gear shifter, which reminds us of the one that we first saw on the Audi e-tron GT. So when flattened, it shifts up and down. As such, for reverse and then to drive, then you have a parking brake button over here. This kind of makes the entire area a bit flatter and a bit more cleaner than before. Also new is this wireless charging tray, but as with the exterior, lighting has played a very special role in the updated interior as well. We get ambient lighting encircling the cup holders, running along the sides of the center console. Well, you can't see them now because it's a bit too bright. And yet another highlight is the fact that the side doors have gotten fabric inlays, which come with inserts that have been laser cut 300 times, and out of these perforations, the light can shine through. Otherwise, it's still a very nice and familiar space. For instance, we still get physical controls which depress with a very nice Audi-like click for your air conditioning. And also, Audi's MMI infotainment system remains one of the most uncomplicated and intuitive ones on the market. Everything is indicated clearly using these large tiles. Although one update that Audi has given to the new A3 is the fact that you can now download third-party apps directly into the infotainment system. So you don't have to connect to your smartphone for apps like Amazon, Alexa, or Spotify and the like. Behind the wheel, however, is perhaps where the new A3 will feel most similar to how it was like before, except for one small catch. So Singapore used to have 2 variants of the pre-facelifted iteration, one with a 1.5-litre mild hybrid engine that produced 148 brake horsepower and 250 Nm of torque, as well as the Cat A variant, which was introduced at a later point, that produced 109 brake horsepower and 200 Nm of torque. So the Cat B variant hasn't changed, it's still the same mild hybrid 1.5-litre engine, producing the same kind of power, and that is currently the one that I'm driving behind the wheel. Provides enough punch even on German highways, and it's generally quite refined and smooth. However, the Cat A variant now is also powered by a 1.5-litre mild hybrid engine. And this one produces 114 or 115 brake horsepower, let me check, as well as 220 Nm of torque. So the power gap between the 2 variants has diminished by quite a fair bit now. Otherwise, as a premium compact car, I would say the A3 does everything you want it to be. Where the new A3 continues to impress, as with the pre-facelifted iteration, is in terms of its ride refinement. You have to bear in mind again that this is technically the entry point to Audi ownership. It's one of the cheapest, if not the cheapest, Audi that you can buy. And considering that positioning, the car is honestly a very comfortable and relaxing vehicle to drive. You know, the steering is light, if a bit vague, the ride is very settled, the cabin is generally quite well insulated from noise outside. So as a motorway cruiser, I would say this can excel very well as well. What it perhaps doesn't provide is a sporty drive. But then again, if you wanted a sporty drive, you wouldn't be getting this car, would you? That brings us to this. Now, I mentioned a very special vehicle or a very special car at the start of the video, and as part of the midlife refresh that Audi has given the A3, it has also not forgotten to facelift the S3, which is, you know, their middle of the range performance car in between the A3 and the all-out bonkers RS3. The bump in power may seem like the headline at first for the facelifted S3, but if we take a deeper dive into the car, we realize that Audi has done actually quite a lot of fine-tuning and upgrading to make this more fun to drive than before. But before we get into all of that, let's talk its updated styling. Like its non-performance sibling, the new S3 has gotten a flatter and wider grille than before, which sees the Audi logo now protruding out of the single frame grille. Also new is the fact that it has this front bumper extended with these vertical struts that are apparently inspired by motorsports. And also, what you'll notice is the fact that it's gotten these L-shaped accents in chrome across the front of the grille, which give it a bit more presence and pizzazz than its non-performance sibling. Come round to the rear and you'll notice the same sort of aggressive styling that the front has, especially with this new bumper at the rear with the same chrome L-shaped accents. Also new is this split diffuser right here, as well as a quad exhaust, which can be optioned with an Akrapovic system. And of course, we have the red S badging right here. Pop open S3's bonnet. Yes, right, it's very nice. And you'll find an engine that is quite familiar to us by now. This is the EA3 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, except that now it puts out more power, 329 brake horsepower and 420 Nm of torque to be exact, which is 23 brake horsepower and 20 Nm of torque, more than before. Audi says that with the car's upgraded power now, it can complete a century sprint in just 4.7 seconds, or 0.1 of a second quicker than before. Step into the S3's cabin and you'll notice similar updates to what we saw in the new A3. We get this redesigned center console with its flattened gear selector as previously mentioned. Except the one thing to note is that the ambient lighting all around is standard, whereas on the A3 it's an option. And also what's specific to the S3 is the fact that we get this sports steering wheel with a flat bottom and of course S badging here, as well as pedal shifters which are finished in chrome. Another highlight, the S3 has gotten larger brake discs up front too, to handle its extra dynamism this time. Still, that's not even where the updates end. The S3 hasn't lost its kind of chameleon-like ability. If you want it to still be comfortable and just be a bit tamer, you know, because there are some days when you just want to be a bit more relaxed in your driving, you can also do that. Just click the drive select and let's put it to comfort. And yeah, suddenly the engine doesn't sound as angry as before. The suspension softens up a bit, the steering's a bit lighter. So the S3 can still be that do-it-all car, you know, when you want it to be. But of course, for my own fun, I'm going to put it back to the dynamic. There we go. And dynamism is exactly what this new S3 excels in. The huge update this time is a piece of technology that we first saw on the RS3, a torque splitter. As the name suggests, this electronically controlled contraption of multiple disc clutches on the rear axle allows for fully variable torque distribution between the rear wheels. Another thing to note is that Audi has meddled with the engine and transmission of this updated S3 just a bit, such that the car will hold its revs a bit higher than it normally would have in the past. And what this allows for is more eager response when you're flooring the pedal and the car takes off. And behind the wheel, it really translates. Honestly, the car is just raring to go. I'm already in gear 4 and when I put my foot down, that was really downshifted to gear 3. Also introduced in this facelift of the S3, which the previous S3 didn't get, is the introduction of a dynamic plus mode. And what this does is it puts the car's stability control to sport mode, and it also tweaks the torque splitter such that it will send more torque to the outer wheel when you're taking it on a curve. So for example, if I'm taking a right bend right now, it will send more torque to the left wheel, such that it gives the car a bit of a tendency to oversteer, which is quite remarkable considering that this car is ultimately built on a front wheel bias platform, the MQB Evo platform. And now on top of making this car all-wheel drive, they've kind of tried to push the limits a bit further and give it a rear bias feel. I think it just knows how to adapt to the driving situation that you want. And that has always been the magic of the S3. You can live with it as a daily driver and it will be more than happy to rise to the occasion.
The sum of all these parts is that you can really have a ball of a time behind the wheel of the S3. The car feels sharp, eager and responsive to a driver's inputs. And the fact that it's on the compact side makes things even better too, because this simply adds to the sense of agility you get on the move. Considering that the S3 has, in recent times, felt a bit overshadowed by other hotted up cars in the compact segment, the updates provided this round feel like a welcome forward and upward step. Based on a couple of hours spent with the car, we'd say that Audi's little S-batch sedan, or hatchback if you prefer the Sportback, now has a clearer cut identity, one that helps it stand out even more confidently now.
Quick commercial break. What I have right beside me is the first ever A3 all-street. Now this car won't be coming to Singapore, unfortunately. It's only been designated for European markets, but I think it's an interesting tidbit to put into this video anyway because it's part of the new refreshed A3 family. As you can see, it has a different grille from the A3 and S3. This is supposed to be more reminiscent of the grilles on the Q models, and if you follow me down to the side, you also realize that it has its own specific rims. These are also one size larger extended than those on the A3, and the all-street also has 30mm more ground clearance than the normal A3, but it remains a front-wheel driven car. Back to the regular programming. So there you have it guys, that was a very quick first look at the updated A3 as well as updated S3. What are your thoughts on the cars? Audi Singapore tells us that we can expect them to arrive on our shores towards the second half of 2024. And as always, these cars will be offered in both the sedan and sportback body styles, so whichever style suits your fancy a bit more, you can have it. For now, that's all from me from Munich. I hope that you enjoyed coming along with us on this first look of the cars. If you like this video, don't forget to like and share it, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on TikTok at Sgcarmart. For now, that's all from me from Munich with the new A3 and S3. See you in the next video. Bye! Test. Mic. Okay, I'll be sure it goes lah. And as with its preface of it, oh my god, I can't speak. That brings us to this. Oh god, I'm so off today. But if we do a deeper dive, it's very cold. For now, as I continue to fight my navigation master, that's all from me from Munich with the...
You will reach your destination after 200 meters.